Welcome everybody, and welcome David. Thanks for joining us today. We're excited to hear you talk about EdCast, and I understand that you specialize in strategic HR technology solutions and also innovative learning experiences. And with my background being in HR transformation with a specialization learning, I'm particularly excited about this, as I know many of our participants are. And we know that nowadays, with the increasing integration with technology and COVID talent shortages, etc., it's more important than ever to leverage and develop the skills of our global workforce. And I understand that you will share some great insights with us in how we can identify what the key skills are that the organizations require and also address managers' mindsets, and for organizations to make the most of their talent to drive that agility. So over to you, David.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. Before I get started, I just want to confirm that I'm audible and that you're able to see my screen.
Yes, we can see it and we can hear you. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I'm going to attempt some sophisticated screen sharing techniques today. So to mitigate the risk of any bandwidth issues, I'm just going to go off of camera for now, and I'll come back on later in the presentation. But thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. I want to start off by saying it's never been a better time to be a learner. We actually have more access to more content, more premium content providers, and more learning platforms and systems than ever before. But within an organizational context, this can also be a double-edged sword. As a learner, how do I know which information is useful? Which information is relevant? And how do I access the information when I need it so that I can spend more time focusing on the customer in front of me or the task at hand? And in this showcase, I'm going to demonstrate how EdCast's can help overcome these challenges via a learning experience platform that delivers data-driven, mobile-first, AI-enabled, and personalized learning. So let's get started by getting a better understanding of the four major components of EdCast's. The first component is the experience platform, which delivers data-driven, mobile-first, AI-enabled, and personalized learning in the flow of work. Skills are the new currency. And the second component of EdCast's is the Skills DNA framework, which includes 360-degree skill assessment, skill graphs, and career pathing. The third component is the content marketplace for certification and instructors, and the ability to create and host instructor-led training and digital courses. The fourth and final component is my guide to create guides for workflow and automation. But in today's presentation, I'm going to focus on the experience platform. So let's get started. The key to a better learning and employee experience is aggregation. I mentioned before that employees have more access to more content, more premium content providers, more learning platforms and systems than ever before. And EdCast's consolidates this into a single experience. With easy creation and curation tools, capitalize on the diversity and experience of your workforce by unlocking the power of their tacit knowledge so that they can share their insights for the benefits of all employees. Contextualize your proprietary content into a rich learning journey, rich learning journeys and pathways. Create a single source of learning by indexing your LMS catalog on EdCast's, facilitating a seamless user experience with single sign-on. Derive greater value from your premium content subscriptions by using AI to link content to a learner's personal learning goals. And leverage AI to determine which open source content is useful and relevant. The end result is a powerful employee proposition with a learning platform which delivers data-driven, mobile-first, AI-enabled, personalized learning. But at EdCast's, we take it to the next step by embedding learning into the flow of work. In addition to the single learning experience via web or mobile, EdCast's pushes learning content into tools that employees are accessing throughout the course of their day. Learning is embedded into productivity tools like Office 365, Salesforce, and ServiceNow. Learning is embedded into collaboration tools like Microsoft Teams, Slack, and Workplace by Facebook. And we know that learners access Google 3 to 4 times per day. So we also have add-ons for Google Chrome. Now I'm going to showcase how we embed learning into the flow of work. But first, I'll start with showcasing the mobile experience. This is my personal profile on the EdCast mobile experience. A couple of things to note on my personal profile is that I have visibility of the certifications and badges that I have been awarded for the successful completion of learning content. And I also have visibility of my peers who I'm following, so that anytime any of my peers post new content, I get notified. So this is a great way to foster mentor and mentee relationships. But what I'm going to focus on today and what drives the personalization on the platform are my learning goals, which are set up from the onboarding wizard when users join the platform, or can be updated from the user's personal profile. What's the importance of these learning goals? Well, when I access EdCast, in my recommended feed, I'm actually presented with content that's sourced from the aggregated content sources that we just covered into a single feed for consumption. And they're directly related to my learning goals. So you can see the first article here is a piece of content from Udemy that's based on my learning topic, learning platforms. If I scroll down, there's a course from Abstract, but this could be from any one of your integrated content sources, your LMS, your user-generated content that's shared on your SharePoint. So this is important because it helps build engagement on the platform because the content recommended to me is personalized. And it also helps me to build a daily learning habit, which drives engagement on the platform. The next way that we drive personalization on EdCast is via the Discover tab. And this is an area where we group content into content containers called channels and display them in carousels, much like the way Netflix or Spotify arranges their content. But it's not just content that we highlight here. Within your organization, to help unlock the power of tacit knowledge, you can highlight subject matter experts and feature them. So if I was to follow Josh, every time Josh posts new content, I'll get notified. We can also feature providers. So this could be your LMS or premium content provider. And this is another area where we use the individual's personal learning goals to drive personalization on the platform. So for example, let's say I go into Get Abstract. Not only do I have the ability to browse for all content from Get Abstract, but the content is prioritized based on my learning goals. So you can see here that I've actually got a feed of content that's directly related to the learning goals that I established on my personal profile, which were learning styles and learning platforms. In addition, from the palm of my hand, a user can actually contribute back to the pool of knowledge. With simple creation and curation tools, organizations have the ability to unlock the power of tacit knowledge within their organizations. And as a learner, I can create and share a number of different content modalities, ranging from links, uploads, live streaming, perfecting my pitch, or a personal favorite is the ability to create and share podcasts directly from my mobile phone. Now, apart from creating a single learning experience on mobile or desktop where employees can go and pull content, at EdCast, we also embed learning into the tools that users are accessing throughout the course of their day. This is an example of the Microsoft Teams add-in. And you can see that EdCast has actually been configured so that a user can access their content from within Microsoft Teams itself. We haven't forgotten about mandatory and compliance training that appears in my assignments feed. And I can see here that I have a learning journey that's been assigned to me by Sahina. I simply have to click to access this content. And then I have the ability to browse through all of the pieces of content as part of this learning journey that have been contextualized into enriched learning pathways with different content modalities, including text, videos, images, quizzes, and polls. And on the successful completion of this particular learning journey, I'm awarded a badge, which appears on my personal profile. There's no need to leave Microsoft Teams. I simply have to click and access the content from within Microsoft Teams itself. I can also search for content within Microsoft Teams. Let's say I'm doing a search for leadership. The Microsoft Teams EdCast's app will definitely yield results across from the aggregated content sources, but it also provides me insights into channels, which are content containers that are related to leadership. But it also highlights users that have specified leadership as one of their skills. Another great way to foster mentor and mentee relationships. So if I was to follow Alex, or I'm currently following Boshra, every time that Boshra posts new content, as a follower, I get notified. The second use case within Microsoft Teams is that we add learning into the collaboration spaces of teams within Microsoft Teams. So this is the EdCast's general chat. This tab up here is for new employer onboarding, which means that learning content from the learning experience platform is directly surfaced and pushed into Microsoft Teams. And we know how important the learning experience is for new employees. So it's a great way to have not only all of their onboarding experience and collaboration, but also all of their onboarding and learning material directly pushed into Microsoft Teams as well. We also know that users are accessing productivity tools like Microsoft PowerPoint. You can see here on the right-hand side, we have the Microsoft PowerPoint add-in by EdCast. And what it means is that I don't have to actually leave the task at hand to find supporting learning content. So if I'm doing a presentation on employee experience, I simply have to highlight that term. You can see that add-in is doing a search across the aggregated content sources to actually present me with learning within the flow of work. Here's an article from one of my peers, Matthew. I simply have to click and view more. And the learning content related to employee experience is actually presented within Microsoft PowerPoint. So I don't actually have to leave Microsoft PowerPoint to find the information that I need. So a great way to embed learning into the flow of work. Because we also know that employees are doing searches 3 to 4 times per day on Google, we've also added in an EdCast's add-in into Google Chrome. So if I do a search for something like the Internet of Things, what happens with the EdCast's add-in is that the first results that are presented to a user are content that's actually surfaced from your LXP. So it's a great way to keep driving consumption of your proprietary content. And you can see here that the first results, even before the promoted content on Google, is the content that you've already vetted and aggregated into your single learning experience. I simply have to click and launch this content within the learning experience platform itself. What you're about to see is another example of the learning journey that's directly related to the Internet of Things. And then I can start this learning journey. I'll be awarded a badge for the successful completion of this learning journey. And once again, it's a good example of various different content modalities: text, videos, polls, quizzes. For some of the social aspects, I can share, I can comment, and I can even tag some of my peers to let them know that this is of value. And John will get notified when I click send. The second use case within Google Chrome is the ease of curation for L&D teams. So for example, I actually found this amazing article about the Internet of Things that I want to bring back into the LXP platform itself. Not a problem with the EdCast's add-in. I simply have to close off this advert first, but click on this little pencil. EdCast's add-in pulls all of the metadata for this page, and the speed of curation is phenomenally quick. So all I have to do is add some tags like IoT, Internet of Things. I put a duration. I'm going to say this article takes about 5 minutes to complete. and I click on create. I can see that this content has been successfully created. So if I navigate back to the LXP, I go to my personal profile, which also presents me with all of the content that I've created in the past. And this article has already been curated back into the LXP. So if I have admin rights from a people manager, I can assign it to my direct reports, or I can promote it more broadly so that more people from within the organization have access to this content. Underpinning EdCast, of course, is comprehensive analytics. And we provide all of the insights across group, content, search, user, channel analytics so that we can derive data-driven insights out of the engagement activities and consumption activities on the platform. From a user perspective, some of the reports that I really love are providing enterprises with visibility of the learning goals that their people are establishing on their personal profiles. So I can see that within EdCast's, project management and agile project management are the most popular topics that people are interested in learning about developing. And from a skills perspective, I can see that sales management is a key skill within the organization. From a content perspective, I can really derive value from those integrated content sources by having a look at where people are actually completing the most content from. If I toggle the metric to content completions only, I can see the differentiation between user-generated content or content that's being consumed from your premium content providers like Udemy or LinkedIn Learning, or even from your LMS. But let's say I'm going into Steerco and I need to talk about some of the activities on the platform. It's in 5 minutes. I simply have to export this graph. I'm going to choose PowerPoint today, but of course there's other modalities. The graph downloads practically instantly. I launch it in PowerPoint and there we go. I'm ready and prepared for my Steerco. So thank you so much for your attention during my showcase today. We've only focused on the experience platform, and hopefully in the last 15 minutes, I've given you enough insights on how we use the experience platform for data-driven, mobile-first, AI-enabled, and personalized learning in the flow of work. But of course, there's many other elements of EdCast, including the Skills DNA framework, the content marketplace, and my guide. Please feel free to reach out. But Rebecca, I'd be really interested to hear if there's been any questions that have come up throughout the presentation also.
Sounds good. And thank you so much for that enlightening talk, David. I just want to take a sip. All right, so yes, we have a couple of questions. So one specifically addresses, since a lot of Australian companies have data sovereignty requirements, where are EdCast's data servers hosted actually?
Yeah, that's a great question. Both our primary and disaster recovery servers are hosted on AWS in Australia, so we can meet the data sovereignty requirements of our customers. Domestically, we work with 3 out of the 5 largest banks, as well as state and federal government agencies. So we pride ourselves on our enterprise-grade security and reassuring our customers of our commitment to data sovereignty.
Okay, thank you very much for answering that. I'm sure that puts a lot of people's mind at ease. One more question, please. Does EdCast adhere to any web content accessibility guidelines as well?
Yeah, certainly. So we are WCAG 2.1 AA accredited. So we also pride ourselves on the accessibility of our platform to make our platform more accessible to more users.
Okay, fantastic, David. Really appreciate that. And please make sure that you visit the booth. Today, all of our partners have partner lounges, and they have a host of online resources available to you, links to their website and more information. And also, please feel free to reach out to David directly for networking or to pose any questions that you may have upon reflection. Thank you so much, David, and have a lovely day. And we'll get ready for our next Tech Talk. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a great afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining.